Malaysia, a developing nation with a growing population. Food production is therefore a vital problem. To the people of South and Southeast Asia, fresh green vegetables are a necessary item in the daily food. The Malaysian government has taken great effort to increase vegetable production. Under the first phase of the Green Book Plan, the people were encouraged to grow vegetables in the backyard or any unused land beside the house to fulfill their own needs. In the second phase, farmers are encouraged to grow vegetables on a larger scale or on commercial basis so as to meet the needs of the nation and to increase their income, thus improving the standard of living. Our country is endowed with plenty of land which is suitable for growing a rich variety of vegetables. The tropical climate and abundance of rainfall are favorable conditions. All these land can be utilized for vegetable farming. Surveys are carried out by Agriculture Department staff to encourage owners to make use of whatever land available, including land in between young oil palm for vegetable growing. They are invited to the nearest agriculture office for further information. Agriculture offices are located throughout the country, especially in the rural districts. The Agriculture Office renders extension services by providing information and advice on the utilization of land and proper crop management. Much aid has been given out to farmers by the government in the form of material and subsidies. These 4 farmers are coming to seek advice as they intend to start new vegetable farms. The agriculture officer briefs them on some basic knowledge of vegetable farming. The agriculture officer tells them it is important that the same vegetables belonging to the same family should not be grown on the same bed successively. Crop rotation must be practiced to prevent the building up of pests and diseases. There are 5 families of vegetables. There is the tuberous and root family such as sweet potato, yam and ginger. The leafy family such as sawi, Chinese cabbage and cauliflower. The fruit families such as brinjal, tomato, capsicum and chili. The beans and peas families such as French bean, sweet peas and long beans. The gourds family such as bottle gourd, snake gourd and angled gourd. The first thing one has to do in starting a vegetable farm is to clear the land. Encik Ali has his whole family to help him. Encik Ali has a piece of flat land and so it is easier and more economic for him to cultivate and to manage later. The main cultural operation is to dig up the soil and break it up into a fine tilth and to remove rubble and weeds. The primary objects of cultivation are to bring the land into the best possible condition for the growth of plants, to aerate the soil and to reduce insect pests by exposing the larvae in the soil to birds. The soil is then formed into a series of raised beds. Beds are raised so as to allow proper drainage. The agriculture officer comes to see whether Encik Ali has tilled his land according to advice given. He informs Encik Ali, following soil analysis made by his department, the soil is acidic and advises him on the varieties of vegetables that are suitable for cultivation on his farm. For large-scale vegetable production, tractor is used to speed up the process of cultivation. Such service facility can be obtained from the Agriculture Department, Farmers Organization Authority and the private sector. The hand rotavator is also useful for land preparation. In an era of technological progress, the farmers have to gear themselves to modern changes and adopt the latest innovations for their own economic well-being. The use of machines helps to save time and labor. Acidic soil is not conducive to vegetable growing. Lime is added to the soil to neutralize its acidity and improve its quality. It is preferable to do liming about 3 or 4 weeks before planting to allow even neutralization of the soil. Next, fertilizers in chemical or organic form should be added to the soil to ensure a successful crop. Under the Agriculture Inputs and Diversification Subsidy Scheme, the Agriculture Department supplies fertilizer and other input materials to farmers. Chemical fertilizer is added to the soil to increase its fertility. Organic manures such as animal dung, prawn dust and compost are also required to improve the soil structure. Both chemical fertilizers and organic manures should be used to complement each other. After the bed is limed and fertilized, then only the seeds are sown. Large seeds such as French bean seeds may be soaked overnight in lukewarm water and sown direct onto the beds. Quality seeds of high-yielding varieties and of high viability can be purchased from seed dealers in the country. Intensive agricultural training courses are conducted regularly at 27 agriculture training centers throughout the country for young would-be farmers. Trainees must be above 16 years of age and able to read and write. However, no specific academic qualification is needed. Trainees are given free accommodation, including food and a monthly allowance. Applications for such course can be made through agriculture offices in the various districts throughout the country. Apart from classroom lectures, the trainees are given practical training in the field, which is an important aspect of any training. Among other things, the trainees learn to prepare beds for vegetable growing. The trainees also learn from the instructor the right method of sowing seeds in seed boxes for the raising of seedling plants. Using 3 parts of earth, 1 part of river sand and 1 part of rotted cow dung, they are thoroughly mixed and passed through a fine meshed sieve to form a fine soil mixture. This soil mixture is conducive to seeds growth. The seed boxes are provided with drainage slits at the bottom. These slits have to be covered with dry grass. The boxes are then filled about 3/4 full with the soil mixture and the surface is leveled. The soil mixture is then watered to make it just moist. The seeds should then be distributed evenly on the surface. To ensure uniform and light distribution, the seeds are thoroughly mixed with a quantity of sand before sowing. Small seeds such as chili, brinjal, tomato and mustards are best sown in seed boxes. The seed boxes should then be kept in the shed to avoid excessive beating from the rain and strong sunshine. Seeds can also be sown on a nursery bed for the raising of seedling plants for subsequent transplanting. Seedlings should be transplanted as soon as they are big enough to handle. As there are more seedlings than generally required, only the most robust seedlings should be used. When removing seedlings, there should be a minimum of root disturbance. The seedlings are transplanted into prepared beds. During transplanting, the seedlings should be pressed down firmly with the fingers. Transplanting is best done in the late evening. A good watering should follow after transplanting to keep the soil moist and to harden off the plants slowly. A regular source of water should be assured as watering is required daily, especially during dry weather. The use of insecticides for control against insects and pests is another important aspect in vegetable growing. Spraying with insecticides is almost always a necessity as insect pests are many and of frequent occurrence. Advice can be sought from the Agriculture Office as to the types of insecticides to be used for specific crops. Spraying of insecticides should be stopped about 7 to 10 days before harvest in order to prevent accumulation of insecticide residue. Fungicides are also used. Crops that are especially susceptible to fungus attack require sprays of fungicides. During the growing period, fertilizer is added to the soil to provide the nutrients not available in sufficient quantities in the soil or used up by the plant. Chemical fertilizers contain nitrogen, potash, phosphorus and trace elements and are compounded in various proportions for various uses. The right compounds and quantities should be used as recommended by the Agriculture Department. Weeding is also an important activity in vegetable farming. Weeds have to be removed as they absorb away the nutrients available in the soil. Otherwise, fertilizers added to the soil are taken up by the weeds and thus defeats the purpose of fertilizing. Most vegetables in Malaysia are cultivated on lowland, well-drained soil areas. Various types of vegetables can be grown. Vegetables can also be planted in peat soil. In between harvest, paddy land can be utilized for vegetable growing. Vegetables can also be cultivated on land in between young oil palm of less than 2 years. And in between young rubber trees of less than 3 years. As for Highland vegetables, the main producing areas are situated in Cameron Highlands. Cultivation is on terraced slopes. Usually, several types of vegetables are grown per farm and intercropping of types is practiced. Vegetable farming under plastic shelter is gaining popularity in Cameron Highlands. Under the shelter, vegetables grown are freed from the rampage of frequent rains and watering can also be controlled. Cameron Highlands enjoys a temperate-like climate with average temperature ranging from 54 degrees Fahrenheit to 79 degrees Fahrenheit. The elevation of the area ranges from 3,000 feet to 5,000 feet above sea level. Many types of highland vegetables are planted here. Lowland vegetables are cultivated mostly in all the states, especially areas surrounding major consuming centers. The four major lowland vegetable growing centers are Tangkak and Kulai at Johor, the Kinta Valley in Perak and Banting, Sungai Besi and Cheras areas in Selangor. The total acreage under vegetables in Malaysia is around 20,000 acres. Production is mainly for home consumption and local markets. The types of vegetables grown at any one time depend on a number of prevailing factors, the most important of which are market price, availability of input materials, and weather. Inche Ali has made a success of his vegetable farm. This is entirely due to his hard work and his willingness to follow the agriculture office advice. Even though vegetable farming is a lot of work to begin with, in the long run, one finds it is still profitable as it brings him a handsome income, and at the same time, he's helping to achieve the nation's objective of self-sufficiency in vegetables. Sow and you shall reap. A well-organized marketing channel has been developed for vegetables. These collectors collect vegetables from the farm and distribute them to the major consuming centers. Through its survey, the Agriculture Department advises vegetable growers as to the types and quantities of vegetables to be planted so that whatever produced by the farmers would be marketed at fair prices. With all the efforts taken by the government, it is certain that vegetable production will be increased and the needs of the nation for vegetables will be met.